US Election Dispatches 2016, Part 2, Election Day. Okay, so I made it to the Clinton event at the Javits Conference Center in New York. I gather they've picked the building so that Hillary can stand underneath a literal glass ceiling as she accepts her victory. I get there around 4 o'clock and proceed to navigate the police blockades and frustrated journalists haggling with the authorities to be let in the front entrance before finding the queue for ticket holders several blocks away around the back. The whole thing is pretty disorganised, and every fresh person joining the queue has to ask if they're in the right place. This is the line for the South Park musical, right? I joke. No one laughs. In the queue, I get chatting to a young teacher and an older couple who work for the UN. Everyone is wearing Hillary badges or I'm with her t-shirts or Angry Women Vote sashes. It seems weird saying this in retrospect, but the atmosphere is entirely complacent. The guy from the UN is reading exit polls on his phone, and he's convinced it's in the bag. This is the first news I've heard, and in this company, I'm totally persuaded by it. I'm attending a coronation. My British accent leads to a discussion about Brexit, and the guy checking his phone is like, "Oh yeah, and you guys were terrified that might happen to us, right?" He's speaking in past tense. His wife starts taking a film of the line, and when she gets me in the frame, she jokes, "And here's our friend, all the way from Brexit, come to see Hillary." The line is slowly filtered into an enormous antechamber, a chicken coop for the crowds yet to be run through security. I'm eager to get into conversations, but most of my opening gambits go nowhere, and when I get a bite, the answers are kind of anodyne. The people here are mostly young, attractive professionals, either worried about getting onto the Wi-Fi so they can answer their work emails or making sure they get home on good time tonight. There's some condescending chatter about how useless third parties are. Just get with the Democrats already. I start to wish I'd gone to Trump Tower. Having passed through security at the front of the hall, it turns out that the crowds aren't being directed through the enormous doors into the main concourse, but outside again. In the absence of any instruction, we pace as fast as we can in the direction we're being funneled, hoping to find another entrance, but soon realise that this is it. We're in a fenced-off pen to the side of the building, and they've laid on a big TV screen and a couple of burger vans. It's shit. I hear one teenage girl choking on her tears and berating her mother for the course of their evening. "Mom, I just wanted things to be special for my first female president." "I know, honey, I'm sorry." They're playing pumping, feel-good Katy Perry pop on the speakers, and those members of the crowd not entirely pissed off at the lack of entry are mouthing every word. These people are awful, I decide, and I have to leave. I'm cold, knackered from travelling, and convinced it's a shoo-in for Clinton anyway. I pass through Times Square around 9 p.m, and Clinton's still ahead on the neon displays. It's not until I catch the train to White Plains and end up opposite a couple of youngish accountant types reading their phones that I realise what's happening. We chat about the fact that this is not a Democrat versus Republican thing. I say I've met lifelong tribal Republicans who can't vote for Trump because they recognise how dangerous he is. They've met Harvard-educated economics professors in totally liberal departments who turn out to be Trump supporters. One of them suggests that Hillary is a total fake and clearly corrupt. At least Donald Trump is what he is. I have to counter that. I mean, he used to be a Democrat, right? Moreover, the Trump campaigners I spoke to last night were convinced that Trump's every controversial pronouncement, every crass comment about women or Muslims or Mexicans, was a conscious calculation designed to keep him riding high in the news cycle on dates when Hillary had her key media moments planned. I don't know if Donald Trump is a Machiavellian genius or a lucky idiot, but with the sheer complacency of the Hillary event in my mind, the glass ceiling, the soulless crowd, the whining entitlement of the crying daughter, upset because she couldn't get the perfect view of her first female president, it does suddenly seem very tempting to me to see Trump's offensive persona as a kind of ingenious trolling of the liberal media and the wealthier left. Keep those folks up in arms about identity politics and virtue signalling to one another, while you get to speak straight to an increasingly economically insecure electorate about jobs and making America great again. Though, with that said, I read in The Guardian this morning that plenty of rich people voted for Trump too, so what the fuck do I know? It's the day after the result now. I'm going to go walk around town and see what's happening.